Welcome back to Talking Fitchburg. Joining me as he does I can't say every time because sometimes we have had Scott on the show, but either way, we have our council recap after every council meeting, and here this morning is Jacob. He's from the Fitchburg Star, reporter, and I don't know, maybe you have other cool titles. Reporter and
I'm all sorts of things. Reporter, web guy.
That comes with being with the newspaper these days, right?
Absolutely.
Well, you had a busy night, again, at council. We presented the two proclamations earlier in the show today that were made last night, but you're going to get into the details of other pieces that happened last night, and it starts with the election.
Yes. Nice proclamations. But yeah, an ordinance came up that was actually presented last fall by Alder Patrick Stern relating to what we do about employees or contractors within the city that campaign on city time. And it was an item that seems kind of straightforward. The spirit of the law, I think everyone can agree that, Fitchburg employees shouldn't be coming in and saying, yeah, let's vote Bernie, or let's vote for, or even more seriously, let's vote for this alder versus another, or something to that effect. However, the wording of the law, the devil's in the details, and the wording of the law really set off a pretty harsh division, particularly as it adds a provision that says employees, campaigning on city time shall be grounds for termination. The city attorney, Mark Sewell, who was not at the meeting, came back with some recommendations and said he was concerned about the constitutionality, first off, and the fact that it sort of circumvents the city's discipline structure. So it's one of these things that, again, I think all the alders were able to agree on the spirit of the law, but they were bitterly divided with regards to whether that particular ordinance should go through. Alder Krause attempted to offer an amendment that would change just the wording of the termination to maybe soften it to may be grounds for termination, just to give a little more leeway. Co-author Dan Carpenter and Patrick Stern countered that, this is there is already room for people to interpret this, and they went back and forth that way. The amendment failed. The motion passed 5 to 1. Yes. And then right in the meeting, the mayor said he was planning to veto it. He had his concerns. He had requested some changes, and so that left some of the alders that proposed it, I think, a little bit unhappy as to how that played out. And especially, this is the first time I've heard the mayor say directly in the meeting that on Thursday he's going to veto it. So that will be coming back up, no doubt. We've had a few vetoes, and they come back, and hopefully they'll come back with a compromise that maybe will unite the council a little more. I think it's worth noting that Alder Hartman particularly was very open to minor changes. He was opposed to it, but he voted yes in favor of it, and I think the spirit of the law is something that everyone can get behind ultimately.
Right. Well, then you moved on to a council letter to the DNR on a new NEN.
The Northeast neighborhood. Yes. There's a little bit of history to that. Yes, I put my cryptic notes in there. So people who don't remember, the Northeast neighborhood is about 900, actually almost 1,000 acres, about 500 of which is proposed for development. That was approved by the council in 2013. In 2014, it went before the ever controversial Capital Area Regional Planning Commission, who looks at water quality issues and environmental impact throughout Dane County when extending sewer to new development areas. That went back and forth. Capital Area Regional Planning Commission did not support it. DNR reviewed it, said, we're okay with it, but less acreage than you thought. Fitchburg Lands LLC, who hold most of that land, Phil Svoim, spoke at the meeting last night. They were not particularly happy. They filed a lawsuit against the city, with regards to that, because obviously they want to have access to develop as much of that as possible. At the meeting last night, Phil said that the lawsuit wasn't about, about actually suing the city. It was about engaging the process. So at last night's meeting, this is all just the history. At last night's meeting, the council voted to forward a letter to the DNR with a new agreement, and the new agreement on the Northeast neighborhood opens up a little bit more land for development. Still not quite the amount that was in the original plan for the developers, but in exchange for that, it has harder environmental protections, and it moves an access road to a location that the mayor said was actually just a good move anyway. And it seems, I believe the statement last night was it was something that everyone could equally dislike. So it was a true compromise. So what the council voted on was to send a letter to the DNR sort of saying that this is the agreement and getting them on board with it. I think the DNR will be on board with it, and we might see development out there at 14 in the Northeast neighborhood. So
It's a long process with these things, so I'm sure we'll hear about it too down the road yet again, right?
And there was, and there was a few other items last night. We are getting into a little bit more routine as the year goes on. Again, we're getting away from that budget time. So there was, there's some talks of different commissions. There is I'm forgetting the name, Pedestrian Transit and Traffic Commission, a 14-member commission that the mayor has put together to look at some issues. That was contrasted against the police building commission. That Alder Dan Carpenter criticized the mayor for being able to put together the pedestrian transit and traffic commission quickly and still having trouble getting people on the police building commission. And the police building, for everyone who's not up on it, is a proposed $23 million facility, and they're still trying to figure out what they should do with it and if it should cost that much.
Non-stop action for you, huh?
Never ends. It never ends.
You never know when you head there what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Saying that in a good way and
Oh,
evenly
absolutely.
weighed.
We even we had the conversation before I went, like, oh yeah, it might be quiet. I might be able to get some work done, and we'll just catch a great proclamation for Black History Month, and and then a few hours later I went home.
Right. All right, Jacob. Well, of course, you can find more information about these and others on the website, certainly. And, of course, always check out the Fitchburg Star. It comes out monthly, so.
It should be out this Friday.
Fantastic. Well, we better get you guys on then to preview that next week. All right.